Hopefully everything's on my screen. Nothing crazy happens. We'll see. We're just talking about DCIM catalogs a little bit today. I'm going to page down here. So we're going to do polling question, slide, polling question, live demo, and then questions and answers. I don't spend a lot of time on the PowerPoint stuff, so I think to start, there's a poll. Let me launch the poll. And this is, what are you currently using for IT documentation and visualizations? Getting an idea what you guys got out there. Let me hit poll. So, yeah, what's kind of going on in the world out there? I mean, I have a guess, but I'll see the folks in attendance, what they have to say. So we're going to talk in context of our software, netTerrain. So if you're looking for a DCIM tool, that's, of course, what we do. DCIM vendor, network documentation vendor, however you want to sort of view it. Been around a while, and we've got our product and so on. So, and whether we're the right fit or not, I don't know. You guys will figure that out in time. There's different, of course, vendors out there, so it's always good to get a feel for what's out there and see what's really going to work for you. And sometimes the thing that works for you best is the thing you're doing today. You know, Visio, Excel, if it works, it's not too frustrating. Sometimes the time and effort of putting in another system is, you know, you're better served just sticking with what you got. It's not always the case, but so we got sort of a split between Visio and Excel. That's usually what we see when we start talking to folks, and then there's an other. So I wonder what the other is. Anyway, let's see. Let me close this. All right, moving on. So we did the slide, which means I have to go on to another page down. Sorry, I'm not very good at this PowerPoint. So we did the polling question. So we'll be talking about really our catalog primarily. You know, we talked about Visio and stuff, but I'm not here to certainly bash Visio in any way. I think it's a fine tool. It's a good tool. I mean, it's actually can be good for documentation. It's not really purpose-built for that. It's kind of what we do, but that's not to say it can't be used to at some point. But, you know, it does get a little cumbersome once you start to get to a certain size of implementation. When you're trying to do documentation, you want to automate things. You want maybe different views or looks to your documentation, more reflective of your network. I think it's a little easier to do in something that's more purpose-built. So, with that said, apparently we have another polling question. Polling question number 2. Let's see here. Polling 2. Here we go. Have you used DCIM software before? So I guess just get a feel for if you've used it or planning on using it, I suppose. But I'm guessing there's probably a lot of no's. Got a few yeses. Because if you're doing Visio and Excel, chances are you're already might be out looking for a DCIM type solution. DCIM kind of encompasses a lot of different things, so it's not just, I mean, it's usually rack and stack, but it could, you know, some tools out there have a lot of features that do a lot of different things, and some maybe less so, and again, that's why it's important to figure out what's sort of fits well today with what you're trying to do. So, yeah, most people were no, about 80%, and then about 20% were yes. Ooh, we went up to 27%. So, anyway. Moving on. So I'm going to jump into our software, netTerrain. Give me a second here to switch gears. All right. So this is netTerrain. netTerrain is, again, sort of purpose-built for network documentation, DCIM, outside plant, et cetera. It's got different flavors. This is really focused more on the catalog side. A lot of, we don't really talk too much about it, so this is an interesting sort of topic for us. And when we say catalog, if you look to the right-hand side, let me go down to sort of a blank piece of paper here, so to speak. I'll just use an empty node, and I'll double-click on that. So I got my little blank piece of paper. And on the right-hand side, this, you know, we talk about catalog, and we have sort of different object types within our catalog: nodes, racks, devices, and links. And a node for us is kind of like the equivalent of something like a Visio stencil. In Visio, you have stencils, you drag the stencil out, And it looks like something, right? It's a picture of something. It might look like a switch. It might look like a building, whatever the case may be. And technically in Visio, you can have data fields associated with the object as well that you can populate to do that sort of thing. So that's kind of where our catalog is similar. If you are using something like Visio, you have a stencil. Of course, there's other tools out there. From way back, you might have used NetVis, and that was sort of the equivalent nodes from the NetVis days. Sort of the same. For us, a node really can be anything. It can be, picture your cat if you want, and with data fields. But typically, it's used to describe things. It's used, for instance, it might be to build a hierarchy. So for us, it might be like a building, and then a floor, and then a room, and so on. So if you look on the right-hand side, in our catalog, I can go in and grab a building object and drag it into the tool. That was really tiny, so let me make it bigger. And so you would, bring it in and start to create whatever it is you're trying to create. And then you also have data fields that describe the objects. So I have a building, and then I have data fields on the left-hand side. So address, latitude, longitude, zip. The lat and long here actually is using an expression that's getting the latitude and longitude coordinates from a map. I'm not using a map. That's why it sort of comes up the way it does. But the point is, these objects are things that, again, could be used to build hierarchy. They can also be used to build a drawing, but typically it's more, in our world, a logical type drawing. So I might have sort of generic routers and switch type icons that I bring out, and I'm going to use those to maybe build connectivity between things. So I might bring out some cable copper, let's say, drag that between these objects, if I can get my pointer on there, right? So that kind of thing. But again, catalog objects, the focus is, the catalog. And one of the things when you go out and look at DCIM is, of course, you want to have a catalog that hopefully reflects your environment of what the equipment is. If you're using Cisco, you want Cisco and so on. For us, we have a pretty extensive catalog for objects, devices, we refer to those more as devices versus nodes. And we also give you the ability to create your own objects in our catalog, but sort of going back and talking about object types. So nodes, racks, devices, and then links. And these are effectively your building blocks. It's like on the right-hand side, these are all your Lego pieces that are going to be used to build some project, some drawing, whatever it is you're really sort of trying to do and create. And with our catalog, we, try and make it so, you can manage it yourself. So, for instance, if I wanted to create a new object, and I'm just going to do this as a example. Of course, I was just in. So let's say I go and I look for something like a truck. And I'm like, I want to put that in my project because I'm tracking my assets, and maybe the truck is one of the assets I need to track. So if I don't have necessarily a truck object in my catalog, right? I have one here. Maybe I don't like the look of that one. Maybe I could, of course, change the icon of this one, but maybe I want to create a second version. Maybe this is a big semi-truck. So one thing you can do is just literally drag and drop. I want to put it in as a picture. I want to add as a node, rack, device, but let's just say node. All right. So that creates the object type for me in the catalog. It's actually got a generic name right now, so it's really just node number 7 because it doesn't know what you want to call it. But we can tune this. We can tailor it to the way we want it to appear and be. So outside, of course, the icon that we created, but maybe we want this in our catalog to appear as 18-wheeler. And maybe I have certain fields that I want to bring in as well. So for us, we're trying to give you some flexibility in what the tool does or can do, right? So, and also, it's not something you have to wait on us for. You don't have to request it from us and say, can you add this or give me this object? In the catalog, you can just go do it yourself. I mean, we do offer the ability for you to request things from us too if you're a customer, so like here, I'm going to change this to be 18-wheeler, but I also can add fields. Whatever the limit you is the number of fields. I have some customers that might have 50 or 60 fields for a given object type. Totally up to you, really. So maybe I'll put in a cost. And there's other things you can do with fields, position, size, et cetera. You can do that in the GUI also. Cost, manufacturer, That could be type, and I don't know, owner, something like that. You could have like maintenance information. Who do I call if this thing breaks down? What's the phone number? What's my warranty period? And that's that's true of really anything, right? Switches, routers, you want to know. You could also attach things to these objects. You can attach a picture. You could attach things like a document. Maybe I have a user guide for this, and I want to bring that in. So you'll notice, I'm going to delete this. On the right-hand side, I now have 18-wheeler in my catalog because I changed it, right? And then I also have these data fields on the left-hand side. So this might be a really expensive truck, right? I guess $250 maybe. That's not really expensive for a truck like that. But it's a Kenmore. Not that I know anything about trucks, and I'm the owner. But I can also choose to display this information if I want to. So we allow you to display it, add data fields, etc. We also control this. Not every user has the ability to change the catalog. That's something you should really kind of keep under lockdown. You don't want people just adding random fields, spelling them incorrectly, and so on. So you have some process to kind of keep that type of stuff up to date. But this would be, again, more of a node type object for us. A node for us is really something that's usually builds hierarchy, shows information about something you're trying to project in a drawing, and so on. And I can double click on this and drill down. It also allows you to create hierarchy, so I can start at a high level and work my way down. That's where you get into things like buildings, floors, rooms, racks, etc. Racks are kind of like nodes, except racks are for us, a little smarter. They have some built-in sort of predefined information as far as how big is the rack. Well, this is a 42U rack, let's say, so 42. So if I double click on this, I've got a back plane, and then I can put stuff into this. Stuff being what we refer to as devices. So I'll just show you that. So if I take a 6509 and I drag it and drop it, right, and it'll consume the rack space. We sort of refer to these as smart racks. You see, this is turned color. It's now yellow, and so on. So now I can do rack utilization, power, weight, and so on. And there's 27 rack units left, and I can come over here and bring that in, drop it in, and then it consumes rack space. And then from there, I can go back and sort of the same thing. I can go up a level, and I can, now I got 13 left, right? So let's think about that for 1 second. I'm back. Sorry about that. So this allows you to see, I can rack mount things, and consume space, and so on. So you can use that for planning. Devices, so that would be like a rack. Devices for us allow you to show things like slots for cards, and I can actually put things into the slot. I want to put a card in, and so on. So it's a little more powerful than just flat nodes where you have an icon and you have data fields, but now I've got some predefined things for the device, like ports, again, slots for cards, and so on. So that's just part of that's just how we manage our catalog. I'm not saying it's the right way, it works for our customers, but again, there's other tools out there. You should definitely, as I said, it's one of those things you want to kind of check out as you go. The other side of the catalog, when you're kind of talking about things, is how am I going to connect things together? And that's, like I showed before, that's really about cables and cabling. Physically showing a connection, point to point, whether it's a logical object like I have here, or maybe it's physical. So, for instance, if I go down into my, actually, I'll go to Baltimore here. Give me a second. Baltimore, Eden, first floor. Might have gone on the wrong floor. Oh, here we go. So if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see a bunch of cables. Cables can represent really anything, power connections, data connections. You can get into fiber strands. You can get into bundling where we're packaging sort of cables together with each other to show some relationships, conduits to fiber cables with strands and so on. But cables also can have data fields. They can show connectivity. You can have as many data fields as you want for a particular link type. That's kind of up to you. Here, this is an Ethernet. It's only got really a couple fields. This is a power. It's got a couple extra fields, shows voltage and tag numbers and things like that. Once you do have physical connections or even logical, then you can start to see how these things sort of all relate back together. But this is getting into the weeds of the tool itself and kind of what it does. Again, I was sort of more focused on the catalog itself. So, but the point of this is, with our tool, we do try and give you the flexibility to create your own object types, also data fields, and so on for each thing. And then you have links. And links could be really any link type you want because you define those yourself. So that's about all I wanted to talk about with respect to the catalog. Unless, of course, you have questions, I'm happy to visit those as well. So let me see if there's any questions out there, and we'll go from there. Let me see, a little Q&A. So no open questions yet. I'm going to give you guys a minute to see if there's any questions. So let me pause my share here. All right. Nothing yet. Wait this out. Wait you guys out for a question. Well, this is a patch panel question. So this is patch panels an object you can put in the rack? Yeah, absolutely. You can put anything in the rack device-wise, so you can create whatever you need to. Or, again, we have a pretty extensive catalog already. Can you monitor IRC and PDUs real time? You can do monitoring via SNMP. So you can monitor an object if it's got an SNMP MIB value you want to monitor. Assuming it's not proprietary. I mean, if it's proprietary, then they're not going to let us get access to it. But if it's a standard open MIB type thing, you should be fine. You do an SNMP get with our collector. I didn't talk about the collector, but you're welcome to call in and ask about that. We can show it to you, or we might have some videos out there already about that. Cisco Aruba, yeah, I do have Extreme. I didn't really talk too much about this, but we do have the ability to, a couple things. One, you can create your own device types. I didn't get into kind of showing you how to do all that. I mean, it's kind of similar to what I do with the drag and drop. You find an icon, you drag it in, but then you go into what we call the modeler and model a device. It's pretty straightforward. In fact, if you want to check out some documentation from us, just ask. We'll show you how to do it, or we have some videos about it too. Again, I wasn't trying to get in every detail, but you can certainly do the modeling of objects yourself, and we'll create objects for you too if there's something specific. If you're a customer under maintenance, we'll do that too. But yeah, we've got Extreme Network, Cisco Aruba, lots of stuff. I mean, there's lots of device types in the catalog, and even if it's not there, it doesn't matter. When you become a customer, we always walk through your catalog or ask you what you got, and make sure you have everything you need, and so on. So I use Excel to record physical connections. How can your software automate showing a physical connection between racks and throughout buildings? We have an Excel import, so we have a format you follow. You put the data in there, and it can create all the connections. You can go port to port, object to object, and then you can generate the CLR to show physical path views and so on. Again, that was a little outside of scope, but if you want to see Excel import and how it works, we have an example project sheet you can play around with. And again, happy to show it to you, or you can test it out. We have netTerrain.com. You can go out and sign up for a 14-day trial, but that's usually one of those things that's better just to see so you understand sort of formatting. But we have documentation on it too, so if you want to read through a guide, you're welcome to do it. So Any other questions? Good questions. Thanks for all the questions today. It was nice. Good set. Oh, wait, there might be more down here at the bottom that I missed. Sorry. Question actually had to do more about logical and DCIM, and they're basically tied together. And can you go DCIM to OSP? Yes. They're all technically all linked together in one way or another. So I can go inside plant to outside plant very easily. It's all tied together, all in one sort of area, and so on. That's in our, actually, this demo project, demo.graphicalnetworks.com/netTerrain. You can go there as a read-only user and you know, go around. But again, if you have questions, just, you know, give us a call or email. We're not going to badger you in any way. We just want to show you and answer questions, really. You know, feel free. Even if it's just questions right now for next year or 2 years from now or something, you just want to know, feel free to just ping us about things. We're happy to help you out. So, let's see. I think that's about it. So, we're out of time. Well, I guess we had a few more minutes. But again, questions, you can call us, shoot an email, have a quick call, or we'll point you at some videos or documentation and hopefully help you out. So thanks, everybody, for attending. Really appreciate it. We'll catch up with you later.